Was having a normal evening until my wife's coworker called, his voice uneasy. She's in the ER. You need to be here. I dropped everything and rushed over, but when I checked in, the nurse looked up and said, Are you her boyfriend? I smiled, shook my head, and said, No, I'm the husband. The entire room went silent as I turned and walked away for good. I never thought I'd be sharing my story here, but recent events have left me reeling, and I need to get this off my chest. My name is Mark, and I've been married to Sarah for 8 years. We live in Chicago, where Sarah works as a nurse at Northwestern Memorial Hospital, and I work as a software developer. Our schedules often differ, especially with her long shifts, but we've always managed to make it work. One evening, I was in the kitchen preparing dinner. The aroma of spaghetti sauce filled the air as I chopped vegetables, anticipating Sarah's return from her shift. My phone buzzed on the counter, displaying an unfamiliar number. I hesitated but decided to answer. Hello? Is this Mark? A man's voice asked, sounding uneasy. Yes, who's this? I'm Jake, I work with Sarah. There's been an incident. She's in the ER. You need to be here. My heart dropped. What happened? She collapsed during her shift. They're running tests now. Please come quickly. Panic surged through me. I grabbed my keys and rushed out the door. The usual evening traffic in Chicago is notorious, especially between 4 and 6 p.m. Navigating through the congested streets felt like an eternity. Every red light, every slow-moving vehicle heightened my anxiety. Finally, I arrived at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. The bright lights of the emergency department illuminated the night as I hurried inside. Approaching the front desk, I tried to steady my breathing. I'm here for Sarah Thompson, I told the nurse. She looked up from her computer, her expression neutral. Are you her boyfriend? I managed a small smile, shaking my head. No, I'm her husband. Her eyes widened slightly, and there was a brief pause before she said, Oh. One moment, please. She picked up the phone and spoke in hushed tones, occasionally glancing at me. Something felt off. The nurse's reaction, the whispered conversation, it all seemed strange. Moments later, a doctor approached me. Mr. Thompson, please follow me. We walked down a corridor, the sterile smell of the hospital filling my nostrils. He led me to a private room where Sarah lay on the bed, looking pale but awake. Mark, she whispered, tears forming in her eyes. I rushed to her side, taking her hand. I'm here, Sarah. What happened? She looked away, unable to meet my gaze. The doctor cleared his throat. Mr. Thompson, Sarah experienced severe dehydration and exhaustion. We've rehydrated her, and she should be fine with rest. Relief washed over me. Thank you, doctor. He nodded and left us alone. I turned back to Sarah. Why didn't you tell me you were feeling this bad? She bit her lip, still avoiding my eyes. I didn't want to worry you. I sighed, brushing her hair back. You have to let me in, Sarah. We're in this together. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry, Mark. I kissed her forehead. Let's get you home. The next few days were quiet. Sarah rested, and I took time off work to care for her. But something lingered in the back of my mind, the nurse's reaction at the front desk. It gnawed at me. A week later, while Sarah was napping, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk about Sarah. Meet me at the park on 5th Avenue. 3 p.m. Curiosity and dread filled me. I decided to go. At the park, a man in his early 30s approached me. Mark? Yes. Jake? He nodded, looking nervous. I don't know how to say this, but Sarah and I have been seeing each other. The world seemed to tilt. What? I'm sorry. It started a few months ago. She told me she was unhappy, that you two were growing apart. I clenched my fists, trying to process. Why are you telling me this now? Because she ended it after the hospital incident. Said she wanted to work things out with you. But I thought you should know. I walked away without another word, my mind in turmoil. At home, I confronted Sarah. Is it true? Were you with Jake? She paled, tears welling up. Mark, just tell me the truth. Yes, she whispered, breaking down. But it's over. I was confused and lonely. I'm so sorry. I couldn't look at her. I need time to think. I left the house, wandering the streets of Chicago, memories flooding my mind. Our wedding day, vacations, late-night talks. How did we get here? Days passed. Sarah tried reaching out, but I wasn't ready. I stayed with a friend, contemplating our future. Eventually, I returned home. Sarah looked hopeful but wary. I've been thinking. I began. We need counseling. If we're going to move past this, we need help. She nodded eagerly. Anything, Mark? I want to fix this. We started therapy, delving into our issues, communicating more openly than we had in years. It was painful and challenging, but we were committed. Months later, we stood stronger, rebuilding trust. The scars remained, but they reminded us of our journey and the importance of honesty. Life isn't a fairy tale. It's messy, complicated, and filled with unexpected turns. But with effort and love, healing is possible. The therapy sessions helped, at least on the surface. Sarah was trying. She cooked more, texted me during the day like she used to, even started planning little date nights. On paper, it looked like we were making progress. But something didn't feel right. It was small things at first. Like how she'd get nervous when I picked up her phone by accident, or how she never left it charging in the open anymore. She used to. All the time. One night, maybe 2 months after that hospital scare, I got up around 2 a.m. to use the bathroom. When I walked past the living room, I noticed a faint light. Sarah was on the couch with her laptop open, headphones in. She didn't see me. I stood there quietly, watching. She was smiling. She typed something, waited. Typed again. She looked happy. Not the tired smile she gave me after a long day. This one was real. Alive. I stepped back before she could see me. I stood in the hallway for a while. My hands were shaking. I wasn't angry. I was cold. Like everything inside me was shutting down again. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked the old iPad we used to share. She hadn't used it in months, or so I thought. It was synced to her iCloud. I wasn't even sure if it would still pull her messages. It did. There were messages to someone named R. At first I thought it might be a patient. Or maybe a friend. But then I saw them. R. I miss how you laugh when you're tired. And how you make everything seem calm. Sarah. I wish I could fall asleep next to you tonight. Mark's been trying, but I'm just not there. My vision blurred. I dropped the iPad on the couch like it was on fire. I didn't say anything right away. I didn't yell or confront her. I just observed. She had the nerve to come home that night and ask me how my day was. She kissed my cheek and smiled. She asked what I wanted to do for dinner. I felt like I was in a dream where everyone knew the truth except me. Over the next week, I kept checking the iPad. I read everything. Hundreds of messages. They weren't sleeping together, not yet. But emotionally? She was all his. R knew things about our marriage only a spouse should know. He knew about the first miscarriage we never told anyone about. He knew I snore when I'm sick. He knew she hated the way I sometimes just shut down instead of talking. She told him everything. And what killed me the most was that he listened. They made plans. Little fantasies. When this is all over. Stuff. Weekend trips. Movie marathons. Even picking out places they'd want to live if things ever changed. I started getting paranoid. I'd ask casual questions. Who's R? And watch her eyes. She said it was someone from a hospital seminar. She said he was married, older, barely even a friend. I lied and said I believed her. One night she got a call while we were watching TV. She silenced it fast, stood up, and said, "I'll be right back, it's about a shift change." I watched her walk into the other room. I muted the TV. Even with the door half closed, I could hear her voice drop into that soft tone, the one she never used with me anymore. She said, "I can't talk long. He's here. Yeah, I miss you too." The next day, I took a half day off work. I told Sarah I had meetings all afternoon. Then I drove straight to the hospital. I waited in the parking garage, scanning every face that walked out of the staff doors. And there he was. I recognized him from a photo Sarah once showed me when she mentioned her coworkers. Tall, fit, clean-shaven, confident. He was smiling as he talked on his phone. Then he hung up and leaned against his car, typing. Probably texting her. I didn't go up to him. I didn't say a word. I just watched. I drove home and didn't sleep that night. Around 4 a.m., I got out of bed, went to the living room, and deleted every picture of our wedding off my phone. Then I opened her side of the closet and stared at it for a long time. I couldn't tell what was worse, that she cheated once, or that she was still doing it, right in front of me, acting like she was trying. And here's the worst part, I still loved her. Somehow, even after everything. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I should confront her again. I didn't know if I should tell her I knew everything. All I knew was, I couldn't live like this anymore. But I didn't leave. Not yet. Because I was waiting. Not for a reason to go, but for the last straw. The one thing that would flip the switch in my brain for good. And it came 2 weeks later. Late afternoon. I was working from home. My phone buzzed with another unfamiliar number. "Hi, is this Mark?" "Yes?" "My name's Ryan. I'm Rachel's husband." I froze. "Who?" "Rachel. She works with Sarah. I'm calling because I think our spouses are having an affair." I didn't say anything. Just stood there, staring out the window. Ryan sighed. "I found messages. Pictures. And Sarah's name came up more than once. I didn't want to believe it, but I figured you should know." We talked for almost an hour. Comparing notes. Connecting dots. And it all lined up. All of it. So now I know. And now I wait. For the right moment. Because the next move I make will be the last. I didn't respond to Sarah that night. I went through the motions, ate dinner, asked about her day, even kissed her goodnight. But inside, I was somewhere else. I couldn't stop thinking about Ryan. The desperation in his voice. The betrayal we both shared. Two strangers, bound together by the same lie. The next morning, I texted Ryan. "Can we meet?" We met in a coffee shop in Wicker Park. A quiet place. Neutral. Ryan looked tired. Worn down in a way I understood too well. He had manila folders in his bag. He slid them across the table without saying a word. Inside, printed texts, screenshots, even a few blurry photos. One of them showed Sarah and Rachel standing very close at a hospital mixer. Another had Rachel leaning into Sarah's car. Nothing explicit, but the kind of closeness that didn't make sense between just coworkers. That's when Ryan said it. "I don't think they're cheating with other people." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I think they're cheating with each other." I stared at him. "You're saying Sarah and Rachel?" He nodded slowly. "It fits. The late night calls. The deleted messages. The way Rachel changed. She even switched her shifts to match Sarah's. And the way she started pulling away from me. It wasn't like she was falling for another man. My stomach twisted. I didn't want to believe it. But something clicked. The way Sarah never mentioned Rachel by name. The time she called out Rachel's name in her sleep and brushed it off. The hidden tension I felt when she talked about drama at work but never gave details. It suddenly felt like I'd been watching the wrong movie this whole time. Ryan and I sat in silence for a while. Then he said, "So what do we do?" I didn't know. That night, I watched Sarah closer. She was different. Not nervous, not afraid, happy. Like something in her had settled. She curled up next to me on the couch and whispered, "Thanks for giving me another chance." I smiled. I even kissed her forehead. But something inside me had snapped clean. I started digging deeper. I bought a second phone, synced with a hidden recording app. Planted it under the passenger seat of her car. Installed a discreet GPS tracker I found online. Started logging her movements. It didn't take long. 3 days later, I saw her car parked outside an apartment complex on the south side. Not a hotel. Not a restaurant. A residential building. She was there for 2 hours. GPS didn't move once. When she came home that night, I asked how her shift went. She didn't flinch. Just smiled. "Busy, but good." I nodded. "Glad you're okay." Later that week, Ryan confirmed Rachel had been running errands during the same 2-hour window. No text replies. No phone calls. Just gone. We had no hard proof. Not yet. So Ryan suggested something bold. A trap. He'd tell Rachel he was going out of town for the weekend. I'd do the same with Sarah. If they were seeing each other, this would be the perfect time. We set it up. Friday morning, I kissed Sarah goodbye and told her I had a company offsite in Milwaukee. She waved from the porch, smiling, sipping her coffee like it was any other day. By 7 p.m. that evening, I was 2 blocks away in a rented SUV, watching her walk out the door. She wasn't dressed up. She was dressed down. Relaxed. Casual. Like she was heading to someone she was comfortable with. She got into her car and drove. I followed. Ryan was already outside the apartment building when she arrived. They waited together. We watched, silently, as Sarah's car pulled up. She got out. Walked toward the building. Rachel came down 5 minutes later. They hugged. Then they kissed. Not a friendly kiss. Not a drunk mistake. This was practiced. Familiar. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not betrayal. Just done. Ryan leaned against the hood of his car, staring blankly. "This makes sense now," he said. "It all makes sense." I nodded. We didn't confront them. Not yet. We needed more. Not for revenge. For clarity. For closure. For the truth no one was willing to give us. The next morning, Sarah texted me. "Miss you already? Hope the meeting's going okay." I replied. "It is. Can't wait to come home." Because when I did, I wouldn't be her husband anymore. I'd be her reckoning. The next few days felt like slow motion. Sarah thought I was out of town. She kept texting, kept pretending. I responded like nothing was wrong. Every word she sent was a lie, and I played along. Meanwhile, Ryan and I were working on our final move. We collected everything: photos, messages, location history, even voice recordings from her car. It wasn't just about revenge. It was about truth. Real truth. No more secrets. We decided to do it on Sunday, Rachel's birthday. They were planning to meet at a small bistro in Andersonville, a trendy little spot where no one would expect a scene. That's why we picked it. Ryan made the reservation under Rachel's name. I called ahead and requested a private room. For a surprise. The manager agreed. Sunday afternoon, Sarah left the house dressed nicely, more effort than she'd put in for me in months. She said she was going shopping with a friend. She kissed me lightly on the cheek before heading out. I sat on the couch, staring at the TV screen, muted, until the door closed. Then I stood up, put on my coat, and left. The bistro was already half full when we got there. Ryan and I sat in the private room, our evidence in folders, laid out like court documents. The waitress looked nervous when we explained what was about to happen. We told her no one would get hurt, but we couldn't promise it wouldn't get loud. At exactly 3:17 p.m., Sarah walked in. Rachel was with her. They were laughing. Then they saw us. Their faces froze. Sarah went pale instantly. Rachel stopped mid-step. I didn't say a word. Just nodded to the waitress, who shut the door behind them. Ryan spoke first. Calm. Measured. Happy birthday, Rachel. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Sarah looked from me to the folders on the table. Her lips trembled. What is this? You tell me, I said. Should we start with the photos or the messages? Sarah stepped forward. Mark, please, it's not what you think. Ryan scoffed. Save it. We've seen it. We know. Then I pulled out the photos. The GPS logs. The screenshots. I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just laid out the facts. Sarah started crying. Not quiet tears, ugly sobbing, shoulders shaking, mascara running. Rachel said nothing. Just sat down, covering her face with her hands. You made me believe I was fixing something, I said, while you were still breaking it behind my back. It wasn't like that, Sarah screamed. I didn't mean for it to happen, but it did, I snapped. And you let it. Ryan turned to Rachel. Did you ever plan to tell me? Or were you just going to keep me as your backup plan? Rachel finally spoke. I didn't want to hurt you. Too late, he said, then stood up and walked out. Sarah dropped to her knees in front of me. She was shaking. I didn't know what I was doing. I was lost. I needed something. Someone, I was someone, I said, standing. And you threw me away. There was silence. The room buzzed with it. Then Sarah whispered, I love you. I looked at her for a long time. My wife. My partner. My betrayer. No, I said. You don't. Not anymore. Then I walked out. Outside, Ryan was leaning on a street lamp, breathing hard. Are you okay? I asked. He shook his head. No. But I will be. We didn't need to say anything else. We just nodded, then went our separate ways. Back home, the silence was loud. Sarah came in an hour later. Her makeup was gone, and she looked like she had aged 10 years in one afternoon. She sat on the floor next to the couch where I was sitting. I never meant to fall for her, she said quietly. I thought it was just something different. I was lonely. You were so far away, even when you were right next to me. I didn't answer. I ended it after the hospital. She continued. But I missed her. I couldn't stay away. So you lied. Yes, she whispered. Every day. I gave you a second chance, I said. I fought for us. She nodded. And I ruined it. There was nothing left to say. She slept in the guest room that night. I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, she left for her sister's place. Said she'd give me space. I didn't argue. The house has been quiet since. Too quiet. No footsteps in the hallway. No soft humming from the kitchen. Just silence. My friends were shocked. Some tried to console me. My sister told me I should have seen it coming. My mother cried. I didn't cry. Not once. Instead, I sat down and started writing this. Not because I need sympathy. But because I needed to remember how it happened. All of it. Sometimes people don't cheat because they stop loving you. Sometimes they cheat because they never really knew how to love themselves. That doesn't make it right. It just makes it real. Will I ever forgive her? I don't know. Will I move on? Probably. Will I trust again? Honestly, I'm still working on that. But I know this. The moment she asked the nurse to tell me, her boyfriend was waiting. She made a choice. And so did I. This is where that choice ends.